Good evening. There was an Italian grandfather who was being taken care of by his grandson. And this grandson would look after his grandfather. Year after year, he would take care of his grandfather. And one day, this grandson, whose name was Vinny, got arrested. And he was thrown into prison. And this grandfather not only lost his caretaker, but he looked outside and he saw his tomato patch. And he said, every year, Vinny helps me dig up the tomato patch. He makes sure that the soil is dug up so I'm able to plant. And this year, Vinny is not around. Not only have I lost my caretaker, but this year, for the first time, I will not be able to plant my tomatoes because I can't dig up my backyard. I can't dig up the tomato patch. And eventually he gets so upset when he thinks about this that he writes a letter to his grandson in prison. And he says, Vinny, I really missed you. I miss having you around. And I look out the window and I say, this year I'm not going to have any tomatoes because I can't dig up my tomato patch. Vinny, I miss you. Immediately, Vinny writes a letter back to his grandfather and he says, Grandpa, please don't dig up the backyard. That's where I hid the bodies. At 4 a.m, the FBI comes and they take shovels and they begin to dig. And they dig for a few hours and then they knock on the door and they said, we're sorry, we must have been mistaken. Have a good evening. And the next day, the grandfather gets a letter from Vinny. Vinny said, Grandpa, it's the best I was able to do. When trying to think about what makes EMET unique, it's the following thought. There are different communities in New York, different Jewish communities around the country. And in the Queens, Kew Gardens, Forest Hill area, there are between 45 and 50,000 Bukharian Jews. And it is very easy to look at the entire group, the entire population, the Bukharian community, and to say this is one homogeneous group. This is one group that is sort of similar. It's the group sitting there in Queens, the Bukharian community. And to forget that each and every single person who is involved, every person in EMET stands alone. They have their own challenges. They are unique in every way imaginable. And when we forget that, then we forget to judge the community favorably. It's a famous story. I will try not to be more than 8 minutes. There is a famous story of a mother who's a little bit hungry and she sees her child, and the child is holding an apple in their right hand and an apple in their left hand. And the mother turns to the child and the mother says, Mommy's hungry. Mommy would like an apple. And immediately, this little child her child, takes the apple in his right hand and takes a big bite out of it. And then takes the apple that's in his left hand and takes a bite out of that. And the mother is standing there and she is stunned. Is this the chinuch? Is this how I raised my child? I just told my child that I want an apple. And the child takes a bite out of each apple. And suddenly the child turns to the mother and the child says, "Here, Mama, this is the sweeter one. Take this one." We're so quick to judge. We see a community and we forget this community has been through history. The Bukharian community, many of them Iranian and Iraqi descent. They have their own customs, they have their own clothing, they have their own traditions. And each one of them deserve the kavod. Each one of them deserve the honor and the hope that Judaism will remain with them. But we're so quick to judge. I took a group of students to Israel, and one of the students stood up in the final banquet and she said, "I made a big mistake because I was too quick to judge a community." She said, "I was walking in Mea Shearim, which is an ultra-Orthodox community in Yerushalayim, and there was a chassid, a very religious Jew, and he was walking in front of me and he drops his wallet. The wallet falls from his pocket and he doesn't notice, and he keeps on walking. So this college student of mine, she picks up the wallet and she says, "Here, you dropped this." And he takes it from her without saying a word. And she says, "Look, he doesn't even say todah. He doesn't even say thank you. What they say is true. He's rude. It's terrible." And he goes into this house and she's left standing there, stunned at how rude this fellow is. She just returns his lost wallet and he doesn't even say thank you. And she's about to turn and walk away when all of a sudden this chassid comes out of his house with a big red pomegranate. And he says, "Here, ze bishvilech, this is for you." For this chassid, it wasn't even enough to say todah. He had to give her something. And she said, "Look, I was so quick to judge a people. I believed everything that I heard, and I was so quick to judge." EMET is a unique organization. Rabbi Kegel and Rebbetzin Kegel, who were just honored here this evening, they don't come from a rabbinical background. Rabbi Kegel was a very successful stock trader on Wall Street. And he left Wall Street in order to come and teach Torah in this community. Rebbetzin Kegel is a world-class speaker. And they are two of the tremendous talents, together with Rabbi Kraft and Rabbi Guttmacher and Rabbi Rutenberg and Rabbi Delman and Sarah B. and Rabbi Tabi and all of the rabbis and rebbetzins in this amazing, fantastic organization that look at each person as an individual. And I want to finish with this one idea. We all want Mashiach to come. We all want Mashiach to come, and therefore we say in davening, Bonei Yerushalayim Hashem. Hashem, you are the Bonei Yerushalayim. You are the one who will build Yerushalayim. Hashem, build that Yerushalayim. Nidchei Yisrael Yichanes. You are the one who gathers in the exiles. You're the one who gathers in those who are not religious. You bring them back to a life of Torah and mitzvot. Hashem, you are the Nidchei Yisrael Yichanes. And you know what Hashem says? Don't forget what I actually am. I am the Rofei Lishvurei Leiv U'Mechabesh Latzvosam. I am the one who heals the brokenhearted and gathers in their sorrow. And do you know how I do that? Monem Mispar LaKochavim L'chulam Shemot Yikra. I count each star, and I give each one of them a name. The students in EMET, they are stars, and every one of them has a name, and every one of them is important, and every one of them has the full attention of the rabbis and the rebbitzins. And it's because of that that my amazing wife Shani and I, every single time we make a Shabbaton, we feel it's our bracha, it is our zchut, it's our blessing to be able to have these amazing students by us. And by Sudash Lishit, when they each stand up and they commit to more Torah and mitzvot, we say, Ashreinu, ma tov chelkeinu, ma na'im goraleinu, u'ma yafa Yerushaseinu, and our Yerusha is Emet. Thank you very much.